Welcome back, everybody, to your favorite baseball podcast, brought to you, of course, by the one, the only Jonesy for Sports. Yep, Sean's shouting it out right there. And you might be a little bit confused as to why there's three of us here, specifically Sean, who has gone on record many, many times and said he doesn't know shit about baseball. And we figured it'd be nice to bring him in so we could learn, because he's expressed interest. And me and E, because me and E are two analytical thinking people, we tend to ramble a little bit. So it's nice to have a human shot clock, if you will. So we are going to break this up. This is episode 1 of the 2021 season preview and predictions. Next week will be more division winners, award winners, things, champion predictions, like shit like that. This is going to be a lot more offseason in review, a lot more rule changes, what we think about them, shit like that. So without further ado, I will pass this off to our new host with the Mets hat on.
Repping hard. We're repping hard this year. Like Luke said, you guys know I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but I'm only more into it when my Mets are doing good. And it looks like finally this year they're actually going to make some noise this year. So my Mets pride is going to be definitely out there. But I definitely wanted to come on the show to, learn more from you two, because you guys are the two that know the most of baseball that I know. So I'm definitely going to pick your brains as we do this. But let's get into it. I'm going to ask these questions. You guys give me your honest thoughts and opinions, and we'll go from there. So starting off, actually, before we even get into the first question, you guys are diehard Yankee fans. How do you guys feel about what the Yankees did in the offseason? We'll start off with E, since we haven't been seeing E very much lately.
Yeah, I'm back. They didn't really do much but keep the guys that they had to keep. Obviously, you lose out on guys like Tanaka and stuff like that, but did I want them to do more to the rotation? Of course, we did what we had to do last offseason in signing Garrett Cole. So you pretty much figure they weren't going to make a big splash this offseason and going after like Bauer or somebody like that.
Yep.
There was the, rumors that they were in on Lindor, who went to your Mets.
Yeah.
But obviously it wasn't a dire need to go get a shortstop when you still have Glaber. They did the main thing that all us Yankee fans wanted, keep fucking DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah.
So I'm not like mad. They still have, obviously they still have a shot every year with the team that they have.
Right.
They just got to obviously fucking hit in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if we keep the main guys healthy, we should be all right.
Very true. Luke, how do you feel about your Yankees this year?
Letting Tanaka go hurt. Tanaka was, if at worst, our best playoff pitcher. Mm-hmm. I'm not as upset. Frankly, I think we should have let Domingo Germán go. But now looking at Garcia pitching today against Toronto, he got shelled for like 3 dingers. So maybe keeping him is not the worst thing in the world.
Oh yeah, he looked bad today. Definitely.
Yeah. I like the Tyone deal. There's something to be said about good pitchers with talent when they get out of Pittsburgh. Tyone with the Cleveland pitching coach that made Kluber a Cy Young Award winner, was help mentoring guys like Shane Bieber turn into what they are now. Very promising. You even saw what the Rays did with Glasnow and what Houston did with Cole. So I think there's just, if you take talent off of Pittsburgh's roster, they get good. That just kind of seems to be what it is. But yeah, other than that, you got LeMahieu for $90 million, which is a fucking steal. He's at least $120 million total guy. And other than that, you really just kind of stayed the course. And it just came out, what was it, a day or two ago, that we now know why they didn't go nuts on guys like Bauer or mortgage the farm for Lindor. Rumor has it they want Corey Seager next offseason.
Oh, no. Yeah, well, I guess, I don't know. We'll get into it more about the Yankees later. Well, I'll get more into that part.
Yeah.
For sure. And one more before we go into the questions for the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know me as a Mets fan, and Mets fans all over the city have been waiting for the Mets to finally do something, especially when it comes to our management. And finally, we did something. We made some moves. How should Mets fans feel going into this season? Lou, start it off.
I mean, you got the best shortstop in baseball. You're returning what was MLB's statistically, I believe, the best offense 1 through 9. You have the best pitcher in baseball. That's not arguable. Syndergaard's going to come back at some point. The only thing that if you're a Met fan, you're maybe not too thrilled about is Dylan Betances, who seems to just suck now perpetually. But other than that, there's no reason to not be excited. I mean, you guys get good once every 5 to 10 years. Right. It's the owner. Uncle Steve is what you needed. It's the Wilpons are over now, and it's indicative. You're already offering Lindor $300 million for an extension, which this is clearly a new era.
Yeah, definitely. E, what you got?
I mean,
be nice.
No. If you asked me a couple years, when I was a little younger, I would give nothing but hate. When you grew up, the way I grew up, it was nothing but hate for the Mets. But now as watching the sport more, you should definitely be happy. Lindor's one of the most exciting players in baseball.
Yep.
He can do it on both sides, defense and at the plate. You still got guys like Jeff McNeil.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Alonso got that exciting power. He can go off of 50 bombs. Got guys like Michael Conforto and all them, So, the offense, my only thing that should worry you a little is bullpen. And like I said, it's a new era, new owner. Hopefully you guys will make the efforts come trade deadline and stuff. Because to be honest, you guys, it's not like your division is you have a front run all the time. Yeah, right now you could say it's the Braves and stuff, but that division is winnable for every team, not the Marlins.
Yeah, I agree. That was one of the things that reading up on them, was one of the things I heard the most was that this was definitely a year that the Mets can make a run for that division for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And that's as a Mets fan, that's all I can ask for, is that we're actually going to be competitive and actually make a push for the playoffs. So
yep,
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that you guys also are positive about them. So
Mets, well, for what it's worth too, the Steinbrenners get a fire under their ass when the Mets get good, because we still hold top dog. No, until otherwise, we always, until you win a World Series,
right.
The Yankees are top dog in the city. That's how it goes. But you guys are like the MLB version of the Brooklyn Nets right now.
Yep.
You have the excitement. You've taken over the city in terms of hype, but unlike the Knicks, we haven't sucked dick for 25 years.
Right.
So there's that.
Right.
That's a fact.
That's true. That's very true. So now we're going to get into the rest of the teams as far as offseason goes. So if you're a fan of any of these teams, make sure you tune in, because we're going to try to touch in on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But first, we're going to start off with E. Who made the best signing of this offseason?
Best signing of the offseason. It's hard not to say the defending champ signing the defending Cy Young winner.
Yeah,
that's just the rich getting richer. What the fuck? They already had a nasty rotation, and then you just add him. So like, like right there, you can't go wrong.
I hear you. I hear you. Luke, where you at with that?
I'm gonna go a little bit more. I would love to say George Springer to Toronto.
The injury recently scares me.
But Brad Hand blowing his fucking UCL that devalues Springer, because unless you're scoring 12 runs a game, which they can do, but they won't. That's the only way that signing is the best. I am going to go Liam Hendricks to the White Sox because that team is probably on the launch pad of about a 10-year window of running that division, and you locked up a top 5 closer for at least the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That says something.
I just did a podcast with a dude from Chicago who's a huge White Sox fan, so we're definitely going to get him on to talk about the White Sox.
Please do. The White Sox are one of the most excited. That's the American League Mets right now, in my opinion. Nice. Or actually, better comparison would be the Padres, but still, hype, plenty of it.
Stay tuned, Nick. We're going to get you on the podcast and talk to these guys about your White Sox. Moving on to the next question. Luke, we'll start with you. Who made the best trade this offseason?
Well, there's 3 in that, or technically 4 in that top echelon. I am going to go with Arenado to the Cardinals. And you might be thinking, why? How can you not say anything the Padres did? Here's the difference. The Padres can do whatever they had to do and probably still won't win that division. The Cardinals are in a fucking junkyard dogfight in that division, and that is the move that wins them probably this division.
Interesting. E, what you got?
I would agree, but I'll go with the Mets and Lindor.
Yeah.
Just because you get the best, if not second best shortstop in baseball, top 10 player in baseball, like that's something a team like being in the big market who's pretty much the little brother to the Yankees needed a spark, and that's a player who can bring the spark.
Absolutely. And obviously I'm going to agree with E on that one.
Shocker.
E, which team did enough to be competitive that wasn't competitive before, I would assume?
I wouldn't say they're not competitive, but just because, the team, they're going against the defending champs, and this is a team that I was big on last year. I called them last year being a good team. Gotta go with the Padres.
Nice.
Gotta go with the Padres. You shore up that rotation, adding Darvish and Snell. You lock up Fernando Tatis, who's probably like gonna be the face of baseball within another 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
Like you still got Manny Machado locked up. That offense is there. Like they doing enough to keep up with the Dodgers. It's just the Dodgers are just the rich who just keep getting richer. Yeah. But the Padres are doing what they can to try to compete.
Nice. I like that. Luke, what do you got for me?
I'm gonna give the love here. Obviously, everything he said is 100% correct, but I'm gonna give the love here to Toronto because in an expanded playoff format, they are 100% one of the best 7 teams in baseball with only one good pitcher and now no closer. So they'll be able to hit their way into the playoffs, no problem. Will they give the Yankees problems? Probably. I don't know if it's enough to claim a division, but to snag a wild card, I would almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with me with the Toronto is this pretty much same a little bit of last year. We know they can hit, but can they pitch?
Right. Well, it's not like they're not trying. I mean, they were.
Oh no, yeah.
Bauer.
I mean,
right. But Bauer was never going to go to fucking Toronto. I mean, there was no other. They didn't have the trade capital that San Diego did to go get Snell, who Tampa never would have gave him to Toronto anyway. And who knew that Darvish would have been that cheap?
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Now going to the opposite of it, which teams didn't do enough to remain competitive for this upcoming season? Luke, starting with you.
There's been a weird trend of people thinking that all of a sudden the LA Angels are a competitor. I don't see how. Just because you gave Mike Trout $400 million doesn't mean that you're just a playoff team. That team still can't pitch. They probably, I'll go on record, they will have a worse starting rotation ERA than the fucking Orioles. They can't pitch. Bundy's the only one that can do it, and their only good starter from last year now pitches for of course, Boston. So what do you have there? You got Raisel Iglesias. Great. That only helps you if you go into the ninth with a lead. They're not going to do that a lot.
I got a follow-up question for you, Luke.
Go ahead.
Why do you think the Angels are struggling so much when they have arguably the best player in the league? And why are they not putting pieces around him to make that team more competitive?
That's a good question. The problem that the Angels have, LA in that area. Well, everyone there right now, as much shit as the Mets got for being second fiddle in that town, triple that for the Angels. Because the Dodgers have been so good for so long now and they're the ones who are technically in Los Angeles. The Angels right now, you would think Mike Trout would have a gravitational pull. He just doesn't. There's nothing. The team's always fucking hurt. Trout is about as guaranteed to get injured as anybody for X amount of games, and they don't draft well.
I think I don't mean to sound crazy. Obviously, he's the best fucking player in baseball, Trout.
Mm-hmm.
Just something about him doesn't scream excitement.
Yeah.
Like I said with Tatis, you see him playing, you're like, I gotta watch this kid.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Trout, you're like, all right, he made a great play. Oh, look, Trout hit 40 home runs, but they're still in last place.
Yeah.
Especially in a division where the Astros ain't the same. Yeah. It's not like it's a not winnable division.
Mm-hmm.
Oakland, you never know about. Seattle's always a bottom team.
Yep.
Texas, you never know about. So it's like they don't even compete. It's not even like there's times they're second. They finished at best third in that division every year.
Yeah. He made a good point too. There's blood in the water in that division. Oakland got a little worse. The Astros are not the Astros. Texas is the worst team in the American League, probably. And Seattle's up and coming, but they're not here yet. This is a year, let's say, had you sprung the money for Bauer, which probably wouldn't have mattered because he hates Mickey Callaway. Why he's even on your coaching staff anymore is a question in of itself. But you can try to sign these people. They were in it for Bauer until it came out that he hates Mickey Callaway. But you can at least attempt to sign these people. Make some trades. The Padres just did it all via trade and drafting.
I mean, like, look at us being Yankee fans.
Yep.
How many, almost every offseason, you hear their name in with the biggest free agent, even when we know they're not going after this guy.
Yep.
You have to throw your name in there to show other free agents, like, we're willing to go, we're willing to spend.
Yeah.
You threw money at Trout. Obviously, you had to.
Yeah, right.
You go and get Rendon.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You spend money on Ohtani. Cool.
Yep.
What else have you done? You still locked into that Pujols contract.
Yep, that was a bad one. And the Justin Upton deal was not worth it either.
That's another team, like, they try their hardest to go about like the Yankee old way of signing big names, throw big money at guys, and it just never did nothing for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least Billy Epler's gone now, and he was a assistant under Cashman.
Yeah, he's a Cashman disciple.
So you have to give time to kind of find your identity. You're still a Los Angeles team. That should be geographically that's already going to be a hot commodity. You gave Pujols way too much money. You gave Justin Upton way too much money. You overpaid for Rendon, in my opinion, too. But you got him, so clearly you have the money. To me, it's the drafting, and frankly, not having a good pitching coach, like a desirable guy that pitchers want to work with in place. That hurts.
That's crazy. But to answer the question, which team didn't do enough to remain competitive? He said the Angels. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I have like a couple teams I could say for the American League, like obviously Minnesota, with Cleveland obviously falling out of that race. I can even go with Tampa, but Tampa's a team you never fucking know about. They could trade the farm and they'll still be a fucking 90-win team. But I'll go National League and a team that we all had high hopes on last year, the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, they fucked me good last year.
Why not keep? Why I would have obviously LA you can't turn down, but I would have threw everything at Bauer. You won the Cy Young, like I would have threw everything out. And then to hear in the offseason they were flirting with the idea of trading their best pitcher that wasn't named Bauer.
Yeah, Luis Castillo.
Yeah. As a Yankee fan, we were the rumored team, and I was loving that.
Oh, we were close too.
But like that was they took the biggest hit because now you're like you brought up with the Cardinals, like the Cardinals are the obvious favorite right now.
Yeah, presumably.
The Cubs still got some guys that can go off and carry them to that division title. The Brewers. Hopefully, you get MVP Yelich back.
Yeah.
So the Reds, I can see falling back into that basement. You're just better enough than the Pirates.
Are you wait, time out. You're really gonna put the Reds and Pirates in the same sentence?
No, I'm saying in that division, that's the only team you're better
than.
Right.
No, the Reds, right. Yeah. No, I could take my slow pitch team and I could probably give the Pirates a good run for their money.
Yeah, you're just better than the Pirates. Like that's all I can see as of now.
Yeah.
Interesting. Next question. Which team is sneakily good / underrated coming into this season? E, we'll start with you.
I'm gonna go with the Nationals.
Okay.
I like the Josh Bell pickup.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Like obviously if Scherzer is healthy, Strasburg's healthy, we know they got pitchers. Trey Turner, Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Like you got it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say the Nats. I feel like again about the NL East, you can still win that division. It's not all right. The Braves are gonna run away with it, obviously.
Right. Okay. The Nationals. Who do you got, Luke?
I think. Okay, I have to mention two. The first one I'm not going to go deep on is the Mariners, just because we're starting to see the fruits of their labor of the rebuild process. Like Kyle Lewis is a fucking monster. Mitch Haniger is coming back. Kyle Seager has been an underrated third baseman his entire career. Marco Gonzalez isn't total trash. Justice Sheffield is not bad. They're just getting better and putting Paxton back there. I'm convinced Paxton can only pitch in Seattle. So he's back there. Good for him. This is my bold leap from last year. Similar. I'm not taking the Reds again because I'm not an idiot. But I think the Royals might actually have a shot at a playoff berth.
The Royals?
The Kansas City fucking Royals.
I can see it.
Bobby Witt Jr. is probably going to break camp as the opening day shortstop, which he should. You still have Mondesi. Jorge Soler is guaranteed hitting you 40 home runs. Sal Perez is a top 3 catcher.
Just paid him too.
Yeah, he needed that. And if Brady Singer is probably going to start in that rotation. which is good because they need help. And then probably by the end of the year, I could see mid-July, a guy like Asa Lacy, who was last year's number 4 overall pick, coming into that rotation and helping out the way Crochet did with the White Sox last year.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
And by the way, who has a better name in baseball right now than Asa Lacy?
That's fire.
Especially for a pitcher.
Yeah, Ace.
Now going in the opposite direction, who is overrated going into this season? E.
Overrated. I'll give it to the Braves.
Oh, shit.
The rotation. So all the rotation with me. We know about their offense. I just don't have faith in that rotation like that. I figure they obviously going into the offseason, that was the big thing. If they could have addressed that pitching rotation better, they would have been a World Series favorite to me. You didn't do that much. You know what I mean? Especially when you see what the Padres went and did. You could have snagged somebody.
Okay. Who you got, Luke?
Overrated? I will take the Chicago Cubs.
Okay. All right.
Who's left? Kyle Hendricks is the only pitcher they have left. The bullpen sucks. And all year,
they got to win like 10-9, 10-8 games.
But that core of Baez, fucking Bryant, and Rizzo, this is their last year together. Bryant might go at the deadline depending on how badly they start.
And Javi's a free agent.
Right. So all things considered, I understand you'd probably want to win together as a unit one more time, but this is not adding Jock Peterson doesn't save you. Because you lost Schwarber. All you did was replace Schwarber with a slightly more athletic version of himself.
Yeah.
So that doesn't scream contention. I mean, and they have worse pitching than Cincinnati. Top to bottom. Still. By a pretty wide margin.
Okay. So you got the Cubs. Now, next question and final question. And before we get into part 2 next week, when will we see the universal DH? Luke, I'll start off with you.
I don't know why this isn't a thing already. I get that there's National League purists that love the strategy behind batting a pitcher ninth or in the 8th hole to get the double lead off, and then you have to do double switches. My only counter to that is, okay, I love baseball to pieces. But if 9 guys, all 9 of them, can't put the ball in play, or if their only means of doing so is by way of a sacrifice bunt, you're not helping. I forget what YouTuber it was, but he took every pitcher at bat from, I think it was 2019, and put them all into an average. Pitchers hit like 115. Now, if you look at the 15 DHs in the American League, it's at least 230 with pop. So I'm not saying I need every 9th or 8th guy in the National League to be a power hitter, but the sheer inability of 98% of National League pitchers to competently stand in the box and maybe get a hit is detrimental to the game at this point. When you need an audience, do what the NBA did. Fuck everything, just score points. Serious. Just fuck defense, make the defense get you out.
Yeah. What do you think?
Nah, I agree. Like, I feel like I always say this when we talk about baseball. Like, we gotta get out of, like, baseball's failing because you're not trying to reach the younger fans.
Yep.
Like, why are we still trying to keep the older fans by letting pitchers hit? Like, obviously, I was a Yankee fan. Do I want to see Garrett Cole with a bat in his hand? Hell no. Sean, as a Met fan, you want to see DeGrom up there twice a game batting? Hell no.
DeGrom could actually swing too, but
and then I think of it this way. You already took jobs away from specialist pitchers, lefty specialists, give some guys more chances in being a DH.
Yep. I guarantee you the Padres would have hung on to Hunter Renfroe if they could have DH'd him. Yeah. Guaranteed. But instead, he had to go sign with Boston. And I'm not mad at him for signing with Boston. I'm mad that he's not on that Padres team anymore.
Yeah. How many guys get blocked and have a bad reputation of being a bad fielder because they can't easily look at Kyle Schwarber. Couldn't throw him at first because you have Anthony Rizzo there. So what you had to do, you had to stick him in the outfield.
Yeah. and all that did was blow his ACL out first week of 3 years ago's opening series.
Yeah, like come on, you give guys a chance to earn a paycheck the other way. Obviously, if the guy you usually make it to the major just because you're a bat anyway. So if you can't field, fuck it. At least you could be a DH.
Yeah. Yadi Molina still has to catch. Or the better sentence, Albert Pujols would probably still be a fucking Cardinal.
Yeah.
But DHing, which is how it should have been the whole fucking time.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's got to be, if you don't want to pay players like these exorbitant contracts, fine. Not all of them are $100 million players. The vast majority are not. But there is something to be said for at least guys that can't field but can hit, have value at maybe 8 to 12 million a year for 2 years. So what if their legs are gone? Salvador Perez probably has 3 years left on his knees. But the Royals will be able to DH him when he can't catch anymore.
Yep.
The Twins could have done it with Mauer back in the day.
Do you guys see it coming? Do you guys think this change will happen in the near future?
You had it last year. You might as well. It worked out good last year.
Yeah. I think what's going to drive it is the upcoming CBA negotiation, because these players want their money, which is understandable. You don't have baseball without players. But there's a bunch of other shit. That's not going to be the driving issue that gets that deal signed. That's going to be like a tertiary benefactor.
Right.
But for what it's worth, it would be nice to see guys like Buster Posey. I don't want to see you catch anymore. It's depressing. Like it is. I'm sorry. The guys can't move.
Right.
If the DH was a thing, we could have traded Gary Sanchez to 15 other teams, because he has no defensive value. You're only taking him for his bat, and if he decides to learn how to hit again, there's his value again.
True. Very true. Well, that's all our questions for today. Part 2 is definitely coming next week. Is there anything that you guys wanted to touch on before we get out of here? Anything?
You got anything?
Oh, no. I'm good till next week.
Anything to touch on? Not really on this one.
All right. So it's all good because it's just one of many, first episode. So next week is going to be the playoff section of it, more of the season and how it's going to be played off and their predictions. So definitely excited to hear what these two are going to predict this season end up. But of course, if you guys are fans of Take It Deep, please leave your comments and like and follow us on all social media platforms. And if you have questions about your specific team, please DM one of us or leave a comment on the post on one of the social media accounts. So other than that, thank you guys for watching. It's your boy Jones, Luke, Take It Deep podcast, Jones for Sports. we make sports better. Peace.